Gather round, friends. It's time for Officials' Tales. Hosted by three retired sports referees that coaches throughout northern Ohio knew as the Three Blind Mice. They are authors of the book called Officials' Tales. So let's meet the authors and your hosts, Jimmy Borgia, Rick Hall, and Don Nardecchia for today's edition of Officials' Tales. Now here's your host, Rick Hall.
Welcome everybody to Officials' Tales, another one of our basketball preview episodes, and we have a very special guest tonight, Nick Dials, very famous basketball player from the area, and can't wait to talk about how things went in Willard and where he's at today. So without further ado, let me bring on my three blind mice, my other two mice. Nardo, how you doing, brother?
Doing great, Rick.
How's South Carolina?
It is been very warm, and it's going to get down to the middle 50s this coming weekend.
Whoa. Geez, you might have to wear your long underwear.
Don't know where it is.
Kind of like Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bigfoot, hey!
Big something. Oh, look at that head.
Look at the head on that thing. Jeez.
We want you guys to stay small because ugliness don't come here. Ugliness don't come, baby.
Wow. Hey. Wow. Speaking of heads, hey, somebody's asking me. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on now. Hold on. Just
this was done ahead of time.
Here we go.
Well, my now.
Oh, here we go.
One, two. Well, let's have a look at the replay. William, move your head. Look at the size of that boy's head. I'm not kidding. It's like an orange on a toothpick.
You're going to give the boy a complex.
Well, that's a huge noggin. It's a vertebrae. Has its own weather system. Heed, move.
Stuart, bring in the paper.
All right, hand. Heed, paper, no. Move that melon of yours and get the paper if you can. Pulling that gargantuan cranium about. I'm not kidding. That boy's head's like Sputnik.
Well, that was offside, wasn't it? He'll be crying himself to sleep tonight on his huge pillow.
You're going to cry yourself to sleep tonight on your huge pillow?
Hey.
Oh, gosh. Well, we got to start off with a little fun. Well, hey, without further ado, we got Nick Dials. Hey, Nick, thanks for joining us tonight. I know you're a busy guy.
You see what I got to put up with, right, Nick?
Oh, yeah.
I got almost every show.
Look at that, Nick. That was pretty funny, right?
Almost every show. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
He's going to cry himself tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my.
Oh, gosh. All right, Don, why don't you start off asking Nick a couple of questions? Let's get serious.
Well, Nick, you are the pure basketball junkie from being a gym rat as a youngster through your playing days at college and administering. I think you're an administrator for a program or office manager or something at one time, gone through assistant coaching ranks. We just kind of want to go through the whole thing tonight. So let's start out with your youngest playing days over at Willard, and tell us a little bit about that, and where you found the love of the game and all.
Honestly, just being a fan, just being a kid in Willard. At the time I grew up, Willard was a basketball a haven, so to speak, and I had an uncle that played there. Obviously, was really talented. So I heard all those stories, and John Willoughby is my uncle. Was a great player there, and then grew up on some country boy, farm, tales, grew up on the side of a barn shooting on stones, and just kind of fell in love with the game. It was kind of an escape from life a little bit. And then, I was fortunate enough to, my talent kept growing and was a ball boy for the high school team. And I had older brothers that played, not so much at Willard, but at other schools. And I just was always the little kid that was picked on. And I grew up and, trying to make my own way. But yeah, it started, being a little kid looking up to, guys that were played before me, and just kind of found my own niche.
Well, how about the coaches that worked with you from the beginning? Let's kind of give a little bit of mention to those men.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, my dad. My dad was a janitor, in the school system, custodian. And so I had the keys to the gym. And I was
very
with
important.
him all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Explains a lot right off the beginning. Sure.
Yeah. And so, we'd go out to Old Richmond Elementary or New Haven Elementary School where, the 3-point line touched the other 3-point line, smaller gyms with wood backboards.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And just getting a lot of shots up. And, those guys he worked with, his coworkers, over the summer, they went from building to building with each other, helped each other out at each building, from Selleryville to Richmond to New Haven to Central Elementary when that was around. And I went with them. I was at the playground. I was, I was there all day. And instead of painting lockers and taking care of the school building, I was shooting hoops, making it a mess, so they had to clean it up again. I really thank those guys for accepting me. And actually, fast forward a little bit, we decided to put a basketball court in at my house. And those were the guys that came out and poured the cement. And so that kind of support was really cool and critical for me growing up. And definitely, I don't know if I ever got to properly thank those guys, but I do appreciate it. But, early on, I had Coach Kelly. One of my first teams was actually a Shelby team. I know Willard people would hate hearing that. But it was actually a Shelby team. Other local area guys that were, well-known. Benji Hall was on that team. His dad coached that team. Jeremiah Diebler was on that team, brother of, Jake and John.
Mm-hmm, sure. I remember him.
So we had a talented team from then. So, I got my butt kicked pretty good. They were all older than me. And so I learned by taking, some butt kickings early on. And I think that's a little bit different back then. You laced them up tighter next time and you went back out. Now you try to find a new team. But I really think that playing around talented people, guys like Coach Kelly, Coach Randall Hall, that just developed me, helped me develop. I really appreciate that. And then that was, I was a first grader playing on a 5th grade team. And there was times I didn't get in the game, and so it does one or two things. It either, you look for another sport or some, canvas to paint on, or you go back and you practice harder. And I'm fortunate that I kept going. So I think those are just important lessons I've always carried with me. Now as a dad, I try to pass on to my own.
Yeah, that's for sure. It will, it develops character. It's not just character, but a culture. We've talked about that with some of the very famous coaches we've just had on, Mike Smith, Steve Gray, some of the guys that have been in the show, and they talk about, character and culture go hand in hand. And that's how you develop winning teams. And I know you were part of several winning teams. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but we just had Mark Hazelwood on, and I think he said he had a signed sheet, score sheet.
Oh, a score sheet
of him and John.
His score sheet.
Yeah, him and John Diebler. They had a combined
101
points.
That was
Jimmy Langhurst and
Diebler.
Jimmy
Langhurst.
Oh, Jimmy Langhurst.
Yeah, and Diebler played that game together. Okay. He had him sign it afterwards. He's got it.
Nice.
He had it on the wall. He had
it on the wall behind him.
Office where we talked to him.
Yeah. So, but that Willard's had a tradition of championship teams and good coaches. I mean, Bob Haas, Nossman. Nossman and I have had some fun talks together. Over the years. One of my favorite of all time is district final. I took the game for John Gurney because his boy played for Shelby. And we had a jump ball. I'm standing right in front of the table, chopping time. The ball goes up, gets tips out of bounds. Langhurst grabs it and goes out of bounds with. And one of my ref partners, which I was working with that night, good friend of ours, Dan Moncher, comes walking over toward me, and I'm like, so what do you got? And he goes, Willard kid grabbed the ball, went out of bounds with it, so it's Shelby's ball, and it's Shelby's arrow. And I'm like, shit. So I'm going to go back here and tell Nossman it's Shelby's ball, and Shelby's going to get the arrow too. Yeah, I was his friend for the first half, I'm pretty sure.
Well, let me tell you something, Rick. It didn't matter what you said. He wasn't going to like what you had to say.
Oh, no. Well, it's one of those oh shit moments. Like, now how am I going to explain this? Where it's not going to get, now he's not going to yell at me for the whole half. So I'm like, well, here we go.
But that's all part of it. Rick's not approachable. This is yeah,
that's true.
We have that actual footage of this.
Oh yeah, I remember telling John at halftime, he was watching us in the hallway there. He came back to the locker room and said, "Man, you owe me something after this one." I don't know what you did. I don't know what you were thinking, but holy crap. So, Jimmy, you got something for Nick?
Well, as Nick was talking about his younger days and shooting, going from gym to gym with his dad and some of the other guys that he worked with, I remember the first time that they come over and we had the summer league stuff down here at the rec center.
Oh, yeah.
And I had played softball with Nick's dad a couple of times. And to see him there, and then I kind of like, who's down here with you? And he said, my boy. And he kind of pointed him out over there. And I started watching this kid, like 5th or 6th grade at the time. And I could see the ball being bounced off Nick's teammate's head because Nick's doing no-look passes at that young age. I'm thinking, what the hell is this kid going to be like once he gets up in the high school level? That's something that I thought this kid's going to be something to watch. And not usually right, but I'm never wrong. And he proved that. He really proved that. So
yeah.
Well, Jim, I learned at a younger age. When you're younger, you throw no-look passes. Your receivers are not always ready, and I learned at a young age. They throw it at their face, they seem to catch it a little bit better.
I've always taught that. Always.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what I was taught when I played.
But it was just the fact that, you come down one time and he throws it to the right and it bounces off the kid's head. Then you come down the next time, all of a sudden, here's a kid on the left side and it bounces off his head. It's like, how's this kid at this age doing this stuff? And I thought, damn. It just, it's like people, when people come down, watch their kids playing in the AAU and stuff, and they take and they yell and scream at us officials because they think their son or daughter will be the next whatever, Caitlin Clark or LeBron James or what have you. That it's not always going to be that way, and you just let the kids play, and that's it. It's let them play. You sit back, cheer them on, give them some encouragement, and the other things will take care of itself. And it's like I had told somebody, talked about coaches and stuff. I said, at that age, learn how to dribble the ball. I said, it's like a relay. The next level, that coach is going to try to show them how to set picks and stuff, and so on. And that's the way I look at it.
So you got something, Don?
Well, I think a lot of Huron County was hearing about Nick by the time he hit junior high.
Oh, yeah.
And, there's a lot of anticipation about what's he going to do at the varsity level. How's he going to handle it? So, Nick, when you're a freshman at a school that has had the success, long-term success that Willard has, how was it stepping on to, I suppose summer practices? You probably practice summers with around a lot of those guys, but when the real deal came and Coach Haas blows the whistle for the first practice, were you comfortable? Was it? Did you feel, or just what was that like?
Well, you got to remember, we're talking 1999, I think, my freshman year. We had a team at Willard. Well, first of all, Willard hasn't won at that point since Haas retired. And I think that was, you guys feel free to cross-check me. I think that was Nosman's second year.
Okay.
Was my freshman year. And they had a decent season the year before. I remember them losing at Madison High School, and I want to say that was the sectionals. So not to the standard that I grew up with for Willard, right? I mean, you're talking about districts, regionals all the time, and Nolan Robinson days, and obviously my Uncle John's days, and so on and so forth. But, coming in, that group was so tight-knit, that senior class. You're talking Charlie Fry.
Yeah.
Joe Bedingfield's now the head coach at Willard. Chad Carr. I know I'm sorry, top of my head here. Names are not great. But that class was so close knit. I think there was 4 of them. I know I'm missing 2. Daniel and our big man. He'll come to me, but he'll come to me mid conversation here. But they were so close knit that I had to earn their respect first before I even thought about, playing. And it was at a time where, I wouldn't say hazing, but, it wasn't like, hey, you have to accept this kid because he's talented or he's going to play for us. It wasn't like that. I remember Charlie and I actually had a standoff preseason. And I had to stand my ground. Well, you guys probably know my background a little bit more than probably common people, but, I wasn't shy to stand up either.
Yeah.
But I think it was Charlie's way of testing, hey, is this guy going to help us or not? And I think I understood that. I have older brothers. I understand that. I have a dad that's a tough guy, a military man and all that stuff too. So I understood that. So getting to Huron, our home opener, our season opener, it really, honestly, it was basketball. So I don't think the lights or whatever you want to say was too big. I didn't think it was any different. And quite frankly, I'm kind of to myself a little bit, I guess you'd say. I don't want to say introverted, but I just didn't really listen to a whole lot. I didn't read the Times Junction. I didn't read the News Journal. I just I knew stuff was being said. You go to Mac's grocery store in Plymouth. You go to the IGA, you go to wherever people say hi to you, but I never caught up into the noise. I just knew what I could do. I played against guys a few years older than me all my life, and it was just basketball at that point.
Yeah, I think you learn a lot from playing with older players. I used to like to do that too. We'd play all summer against, the adults that come back, or the guys at the park on the blacktop where, what's a foul, that kind of thing. I think that really hones you a little bit.
Well, they had a guy at Willard even that graduated a year before. I'd always play against him, and he at the you talk about the playground, but he was always John Leone, who was talented, but they didn't win, but he was talented, but he was not shy about making it a personal challenge to attack me, anytime we played against each other. But, I accepted that. And even when I go to other open gyms, you had Freeze. That was, I want to say, 98 grad, give or take, at St. Paul. Then when they went to the Final Four, you had, Van Dresser. I played anytime there was an open gym, I found it. And so I had confidence in myself that I could play at that level.
Yeah, and I think you learn the game that way too, Nick. It's because when you're out there, everybody likes to think, you run this play and it works every time. I think the art of the game is when the play doesn't work, and then things break down, and then as a guard, you can read and react with your teammates and, play the game. Same thing on defense, the perfect defense, there's no such thing. It's hustle and talking constantly. And I think that's a learned trait. I don't think you can ever read that, or, somebody show you once or twice. You got to go through it a bunch, because you're going to see all kinds of things on that basketball floor. I remember talking to kids about, little stupid fouls that they do, like grabbing the shorts or kneeing in the back. Or they're like, look, man, I invented that stuff. I see this stuff from a mile away. I knew that stuff. We did that stuff. So, that's what you learn playing with older players. You learn how to play, going to the ring, with a little contact, and you get used to it. And what's really bad about that, though, is when you get in games and kids just let you go up for a layup, and you go, oh, crap, you miss it because you're expecting to get hit. You're like, what? No. So anyway, hey, Don, you got something else for Nick?
Yeah. I was thinking about what you said there, Nick, about the group of seniors with Joe and Brian and Charlie Fry. Those guys had that senior class had a heck of a football season before there too. Coach Hawkins took those guys way down the path there in the playoffs, and so they obviously they're a really tight group. You don't get that kind of two-sport performance in a school unless that class is really solid. So you passed the test, you played with them, you contributed for them, but when those guys left, did that leave a void in the basketball program as far as leadership? And what's going through your mind when that class graduates and it's they leave the program, and that's a lot of experience gone.
Yeah, I don't, to be honest with you, Don, I don't know what was going through my mind as far as, thinking about leadership and things like that. I've just always been a kind of a guy to just kind of handle my business and hope others follow. Mm-hmm. And I have to believe, I kind of did that then. I wasn't going to beg anybody to go to the gym with me, but they knew where I was at. So
there you go.
So either come or don't. I was just confident that whoever came on board, that we were going to be okay with, and I was okay with the results.
Well, so as you work your way through 4 years of high school at Willard, obviously there were a lot of great ball games. The Willard tradition continues. I know there were challenges from Bellevue. The Willard-Bellevue rivalry was phenomenal in the late 80s and through a good portion of the 90s. Every few years, Upper Sandusky came up with a real solid group, even before the Dieblers moved in there. As you went along, any memorable games or memorable opponents?
Well, yeah, I'll start by mentioning a couple coaches because I know you mentioned one already, Steve Gray.
Mhm.
I believe I played Steve when he was my second high school game. I think he was still at Lexington at that time, and I only scored 1 point, fellas. And my lowest of my career, and that still ticks me off, Steve. But we did win. So I do have some of that bragging rights. But no, Steve is one of those guys I wish I would have played for. And I got to throw another guy in there, Scott Elkert, who was at Upper Sandusky when I played, and I wish I would have played for those two guys. I always thought that they had teams that weren't as talented as their record. And they always brought the best out of their teams. And honestly, from my standpoint, they challenged me more than anybody else I faced. And I respected that. Scott, I'm sorry, to the Upper fans out there, but the kids I played against were not that talented. But man, were they the toughest. And I didn't respect anybody else more than Scott's team at Upper. He's a heck of a coach, and we still chat to this day, and he's a friend now. So, but I have a lot of respect for him, and then same with Steve. Now, Steve, we're playing my senior year. Team wasn't as talented, wasn't the Final Four Norwalk team, the state championship Norwalk team, but I'm on the sideline and. Or next to him in front of his bench after a dead ball, and he goes, Daz, you could have transferred to Norwalk. And I was like, I don't know, Steve. I was like, we had some good things going over here. And he just kind of poked at me. He says, I could have got you a Corvette or something.
You ever see what he drives?
Oh, yeah. I said, well, I'm a Ford man, Steve. I don't know if that'd have done anything. But even in the off season, he had me up to his open gyms. He gave me advice, Scott as well. And I always appreciated that. I know we competed against each other, but those two men always did what's best for kids. And that's not always the case. And so I just want to make sure I mention them. But as far as individual games, obviously Upper and us had some showdowns. But just taking Willard to a Final Four, I don't think there's anything as cool as that. Taking a small town school, you go to, play at Ohio State, and you're playing in front of 20-some thousand people at Ohio State, 21, 22,000, whatever that final number was. And I'm sorry, but I felt like 75% of that was Willard fans. Whether they're lifers or they were fans of Willard that night, that was a special night. I know we didn't come out on top. We lost by 4 to Warrensville Heights, but just being able to represent Willard at the biggest stage on that court, I think that was probably the coolest experience.
Yeah,
just going back, you mentioned Scott Elkert who was the Upper coach. Could never figure out why he disappeared. All of a sudden he's gone, and I don't know if that's when the Dieblers came in as a package or what. But I always thought Scott's kids played the game, like you expect big farm boys to play. They set picks that are like a phone pole. Legal picks that like a phone pole. Their defensive tendencies are great. They move the ball. Great. Yeah, when you brought his name up, I thought that was pretty unique that you would call his name for someone that you always say, God, I would have loved to have a chance to play for him, I'd love for my kids to play for a guy like him, and so that's well spoken. That carries a lot of weight with me. So
he always challenged. So one game you'll come out and you would hedge ball screens. I think the first time I played him, they tried to go under ball screens. He found out that probably wasn't a good idea. Another time they trapped my ball screens until I got rid of it. He just did different things and it made you think. And to me, that's what I love most about basketball. One, the physicality, and two, the mind that you have to play a game at a high level. And he brought that out of me. He made me better. So he's an all-time great in my book.
That's cool.
Well,
I did. I don't know if upper people like me too much because at the time I was the one that gave that gym the nickname the Barn.
Oh,
Yeah, that next game, and I was dating a girl from upper at that time, and at next game they brought their overalls and they had hay or straw or whatever in the student section. And, honestly, they made it fun. They made it fun. I hope it was fun for them because it's memorable for me too. And I have a lot of respect for Scott and those people over there.
very cool. Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break, run an ad, and we'll be right back with Nick. Go over his collegiate level and what he's doing now. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Yeah, now is your time to buy the Christmas gifts. It's Black Friday, it's past Black Friday now, and Santa's about ready to knock on your door or come down your chimney. You can buy our book on Amazon and get it delivered for your favorite sports person. Follow that QR code right there. It'll take you right to our Amazon book, and you can get it in paperback, hardback, or ebook. And if you want to get it quickly and get it wrapped, you can always go straight up to the Common Good. They have our book every day, and we are running a special there. And here's everything you need to know about that.
Hi, guys. Just wanted to say thanks to the Officials Podcast crew for supporting Common Good Collective, and wanted to say that if you're looking for a unique gift this holiday season, check us out. We do have the Officials Tales book and their mug, and among many other unique items. So thank you.
So anyway, let's get back to Nick. I'm sure Don's got some questions about his post-high school story. So here we go. Don?
Well,
hey, Nick, welcome back.
Thanks, fellas.
Well, we left the story about playing in the Final Four down in Columbus and at the Shot, and the size of the place and just the feel of it all and whatnot. You ended up there. Played ball for the Buckeyes for a year. What all transpired that got you there as a freshman?
Well, I played on to leading up to the recruiting part. Is that?
Yeah, a little bit, sure. Yeah.
Wherever you want to start, Nick, you tell us.
Yeah. So I played on a talented AAU program out of Columbus, and when I say I go anywhere to play a little open gym, I used to travel to Columbus just to play an hour and a half open gym at Columbus State University, the JUCO down there. And then my AAU team is there out of Dublin area. And then later, the Hoop was a place kind of down by the airport. It was an Adidas sponsored team. I think 7 Up sponsored us, or we just had 7 Up on our jerseys or what. But, we traveled all over the country doing, stuff like that. And you guys may know a name. Chris Quinn was on that team. He's now the assistant coach for the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
Ivan Harris was a teammate of mine at Ohio State, Springfield grad. And then numerous others, but very talented team. We Vegas and, doing all that type of stuff. And then over in Europe. And so I had opportunities to play in front of a lot of coaches. And, Ohio State, liked me, was really late as far as, what they wanted to do with me as far as an offer. But they actually had a guy that didn't make grades, that a scholarship came available. Because I was, they wanted to offer me, but they didn't have a scholarship available. And so they said, hey, we'd like to have you, but, we just don't have one available. Well, out of all the other offers I had, I wanted, I believed in myself and what I could do. And I played against those guys. A couple of those guys were my teammates when I went to Europe in high school. I ended up starting over them, and they were already there on roster. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I can definitely play at this level. So I took that chance, I guess. And then a scholarship came available midsummer, and they gave it to me. So that's kind of how it all worked out. But I had a great coach there. Jim O'Brien is one of the best basketball minds I've actually got to be around. I learned a lot from him. And he's a man's man. He's from Boston. He's a Boston guy. He's a tough guy, but first and foremost, he's genuine. And so I love playing for him. I love representing the Buckeyes. Running out on that court, the fight song. I'll never forget that to the day I die. I really love my time there.
You became a fan favorite the more you played.
Mm-hmm.
I know when you're on TV back up here, I loved watching it because I knew it was going to show pure love for the game, and the fans picked up on it and they appreciated it. So that had to really make that year a lot of fun for you, playing at a major university, let alone the one in the state you grew up in, and having the fans take to you like that. But
100%. Well, my dad, you guys know my dad. He's a Kentucky fan. He's from Kentucky, so cut him a little slack. A little. I grew up a Kentucky fan too, though. I grew up watching those 90s Rick Pitino teams, and that I think 96 might be the best basketball team that played. We can argue about that. That's fine, but you're right. Growing up in Ohio, going to Ohio State doesn't get any bigger, doesn't get any better. I don't care who you grow up rooting for. To not acknowledge that would be silly. And it was special. I think they took to me because I played hard. And I played tough. I think it's a football school, and that's okay to admit that, but I think that's why they received me so well, is because I was first to the floor. I was going to run over a 6'7", 250-pound 4-man to get a loose ball, and I think they just respected that, and and I wasn't going to change how I played. That's just how I played, and it was a really, really cool experience for sure.
Very cool.
But you after that first year, is that when you moved to Akron?
Yeah. So I'll spare the details, but our coach kind of got into a little trouble, and then and then my background being a Kentucky fan, you got the Joe B. Hall and with Sutton, I guess it was Eddie Sutton days they got into some trouble, right? At late 80s, early 90s there. And then, and at the time, if you guys remember, that was the same time, the timing was Maurice Claret stuff was going on.
Oh, yeah.
And so we had a lot of, NCAA officials on campus.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a lot of question marks about what they were going to do with our program. Probation, how many years. There was just a lot. Coach O'Brien wasn't there. It just was a lot. And I think it took almost a month, maybe month and a half, for them to hire Thad Matta.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but during that time, there's just so many question marks. We're being told one thing as players, probation. I didn't want to leave. But I felt like it was I wanted to play for the tournament, I wanted to play. I wanted to be in March Madness. I wanted to do that. And so that's kind of just made the decision. Hey, this is going to this is going to be a hard one. Now, I will say this, and I got a lot of mail, that year. Hey, please don't go. We love watching the Buckeyes. You're our favorite and all that. And it just made it hard. But what I will say is I had 2 great college experiences because I went on to Akron. I didn't transfer because I wasn't happy. I didn't transfer for any other reason besides, hey, I wanted to play for the tournament. And that was a goal of mine. I do question if it was the right decision or not. I still do to this day, but I do love my brothers at Akron too. I have a bigger basketball family because of it. So, I live with no regrets with it. But, yeah, after 1 year, then went on to 3 years at Akron, played with the Bronze crew, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
They're now my crew. And we actually turned that program around there. They're a 500 program. And, since our years there, I think they've been at the top of the MAC ever since. And so I think that's unique. So if you kind of look at it, Willard, when I got there, same situation, right? Wasn't what it used to be. Wasn't really winning like it used to. Turned it around, and we had a pretty good run for a while there. And then Akron, same situation. Wasn't the greatest. Got into a situation, helped turn that thing around, and it doesn't look like they're going to look backwards. They're doing a heck of a job up there. So I'm very proud of what we did there at Akron too.
Jim, you got a question for Nick?
It's just, looking back and realizing that he had played down in there, and then just thinking of when he played down at the rec center, it's like we got 2 entirely different things. And I'm thinking over the years that I have officiated, there's like maybe a handful that, you watched, and, hey, Nick's right there with that top 5. And, so would Jimmy Langhurst and some of the other boys from the area. It just amazes me how these kids, keep making the progress. It's just like when I said earlier, the parents just go out and enjoy the kid and give them encouragement and let them play. Like if we were to have the statistics on how many kids are able to move on to a Division I or Division II program, and then from there you go on to the NFL or NBA, what have you. These people I don't think they really realize what they got and what they think they have, and just let the kids play. I said right now we got Nick's son plays for St. Xavier down in on the Cincinnati area. They beat Cincinnati Elder this past Friday. They're playing Midtown this weekend down at the University of Dayton. So that the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. You got a little bit of that athletic ability that's passed down to the next generation. So shout out to him and his teammates. Good luck Friday night.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that was a pretty cool experience. Last Friday, they moved the game to Paul Brown Stadium. Played in the Bay, and I'm a Steeler fan, so that didn't impress me too much. No, I'm joking. That was pretty cool. And then his teammates, they played well and avenged a regular season loss. But that whole experience at St. X for my boy has been unreal. I'm proud of him for sure. But yeah, he's a talented kid, and to what Jim was saying, he had to find his own way. I wasn't going to try to, advertise him. He's going to have to find his own way. It's my job to guide him to get to where he wants to go, not to promote him. I think that's a very important distinction to make. And to his credit, he works his butt off, and he's an old school kid. I think he has the opportunity to play at the next level as well. And so we'll just let that train go down those tracks as it's supposed to. And he knows he has a number one fan in me and mom, and so yeah, I'm very proud of him.
What position does he play, Nick?
He's a quarterback.
Nice.
He's a quarterback. Yeah, he's a sophomore. He's their backup now. I'm hoping that he has a chance, next year. But he was a starter on the JV team, and they went undefeated down here. He's got a talent. He throws the ball about 70 yards, 65, 70 yards on the fly.
Nice.
He's a talented kid. Thinks the game kind of like a point guard. Would in basketball.
That's good for a quarterback.
Yeah, very cerebral. He's a big kid. I always tell people, and they always ask how he plays. He's not a Lamar Jackson, okay? But he's more like a mix between a Matt Stafford and Josh Allen type of quarterback. Big Ben, I'm a Steeler fan. Big Ben type of quarterback. Somewhere in the middle of that. That's kind of his style. But he's got to develop his own style, and hopefully he gets an opportunity. And he's also one of the top baseball players around, so he has that going for him as well. So my wife played college soccer. That's another. I should mention that. Speaking of transferring to Akron, I did. They gave me the opportunity to meet my wife. She played soccer at Akron, and so he has athletic talent on both sides there. So each of our 4 kids kind of doesn't have a choice but to pick up a sport of some kind. I just need one, guys. I just need one basketball player. I don't need all 4. I'm not greedy. I just need one, though.
Well, what I found out today, I saw a picture of Barry Sanders, great running back from the Detroit Lions, sitting back at it said he was watching his son at Michigan State. And I'm looking at him, and then all of a sudden I think, wait a minute. It was cold up there. He's sitting in a light jacket and a baseball. His son's a basketball player at Michigan State. So they can cross over.
Well, there's one pretty famous baseball player in college that made it pretty far in professional football as a quarterback. That would be Tom Brady. Yeah. So that's a goal right there, right?
Yeah. Would be nice. I'm more like a John Elway, right? John Elway, baseball player too.
Well, Tom's got 7 rings, so that's a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a goal.
But listen, Rick. It's Michigan Ohio State week. I ain't giving Tom Brady nothing.
There you go.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Sayan's going to have something to do with this game come Sunday. You bet on it. That kid, he's a lot like what you were talking about your son. That kid's cerebral. I mean, he's slick in the pocket, and he is smart. So, of course, that defense isn't shabby either, by the way. So,
Nick,
they're not bad.
How big is your Atlas of the United States, or how good is your GPS? Because you've been to a number of colleges, and right now at Wittenberg University as an assistant coach. But what's your? I mean, you ultimately looking to be a head coach. Are you liking where you're at now because you got the boys and the home life and watching them grow up, or what's your thoughts here? And also as you explain that, if you would, to cover the stops and what you did at that school.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, so I guess I'll start with where I've been. I started after I graduated. I went on and played in Europe. So I played, in Europe in high school, right? And then after high school, went to college, and then after college, went over and played again in Germany. And by the way, German food is very underrated. But I actually coached over there as well. And so my wife and I, we had Dominic, our oldest. And so I wanted to come back to the States, and I got into a job with a guy named Greg Zimmerman, who's, has recently passed, but he was the first one to give me an opportunity to coach over here in the States. is a D2 at Alderson Broadus College. I think recently just closed down, but yeah, AB was my first stop. I consider West Virginia the American version of Germany. It's got all the hills and everything.
Just
but
the okay.
but we actually only had Greg was a great coach. We had 5.5 scholarships, 6 scholarships. At D2, you can have up to 10. Okay, so you don't have to have 10. You can have up to 10, but with 6 scholarships, almost 50% of the allotment, we made it to the NCAA tournament, which was, a pretty cool feat. So, I just remember that experience like yesterday, going through that season, and just it felt like every game was an upset. Where are these guys coming from? But Greg was such a great coach, and a good man. From there, I went to Miami, Ohio, worked for the great legendary Charlie Coles. Also, passed, but he is as well a great coach. Then I went back to Akron. Made my Mac surroundings there. Then went out to actually Oklahoma, out in Tulsa. I actually lived next door to a guy you probably heard of, Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
It was actually my neighbor. So that was pretty cool. And then I came back to Toledo, took a head job at Urbana. That school closed down. Went to Capital, who I consider my mentor, and Damon Goodwin at Capital. He's been at Capital for 30 plus years now as a head coach. And honestly, he's the best. And then now at Wittenberg. So yeah, I've been around the block a little bit, but every stop has given me something. I've expanded my recruiting base. That was part of the reason I went to Oklahoma when I did. Got into the JUCO life and JUCO recruiting, which is really big out that way. So every move kind of had a purpose to it. But yeah, I want to move on. I want to move up. I want to move up in my career. And, obviously my family plays a role in all those decisions, though, with Dominic being at St. X. My wife is from Cincinnati. My daughter is an 8th grader. My oldest daughter is an 8th grader. So, she's going into that high school age. And then we have twins that are 4th graders. And so boy, girl twins. So, they'll play, we make those decisions as a family, but, I would love to move up in my career, and, I'm ready. I've recruited a player of the year at every division.
Wow.
So, D1, D2, D3, NAIA. So I haven't coached JUCO. So, but all those other 4, I've recruited a player of the year. So, I'm just ready to move on, kind of anxious, trying to be patient, trying to balance that a little bit. But right now, be where your feet are at, right? Right now, we're trying to do something at Wittenberg, and make this a special year for these boys.
Yeah, I can see it in your eyes. You have the fire still. That's great. And and if you can get that across to your team, who knows? This could be a very special season. I know when we talked to Steve about that, when he was going through his championship runs and ultimately winning the title, he was like that. He had that, passion again. He had the will, and he passed it on to those players. And yeah, he had talented players, but boy, it all started with Steve. So, hey, as we're closing out, guys, you guys got anything else for Nick, Jimmy?
No, I just wonder how you.
Better do a shout out to your dad, just because of the fact that when I ran into him down at Walmart, we got to talking that the business of our podcast and our book, and I said, hey, So what's the chances of maybe getting a hold of Nick and maybe we can get him on our program? So better say hi to Dad. So
Well, I did say he was one of the best coaches I ever had, right? I
Yeah,
did.
that was right at the beginning. You got that out of the way.
And another thing is go back and watch Steve Gray's podcast from this past Friday.
Yeah, you'll see Steve.
Kind of good.
Yep, Don.
So
Yeah, you know, we're all in your corner for you.
Absolutely.
Getting a top job, and we had a couple interesting shows. A young fellow from Norwalk graduated in 05. Andy Freeze is now the second year head football coach at Ohio Northern, and we talked with him just before, just after. I can't remember. I was in Ohio, so we went to his opener, his first year, and we talked to him about what all happens from the day you get chosen for even a D3 job. And after he had bounced around through all those assistant jobs, what happens that nobody sees or thinks about? Getting your family ready and everything. And I tell you, it may have been one of the best coaches shows we've ever done. And we also talked to him again this year. Okay, let's go back to where you were and what you had to do last year. How much difference was it this year that you've had your system in place? And we talked to him 9:30 on a Sunday night. He sounded like it was 6 o'clock on the first day of hunting season. He was so excited to talk to us.
Oh yeah,
but they did great. They're second place in the OAC, and he's done a great job there, and he paid his dues, and that's a big part of being ready when the time comes.
Yep. When the bell rings.
And then they lost a heartbreaker yesterday.
Yeah.
To Wabash, 32-31.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So. All right, Nick. Thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate it. And if you don't mind, maybe we'll have you back at the end of the season and see how everything went.
Anytime you guys need something, you guys got my number. I'll do everything I can to be there for y'all.
I appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate it, Nick.
And before you go, let's go Bucks.
Go Bucks. OH.
Go.
OH,
yeah,
baby. All right, thanks, Nick.
Take care.
All right, boys. That was a great one. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Boy, we're getting really close to Christmas. Don't forget. Oh, congratulations, Nick Lee, again. If you didn't see the scroll across the bottom, we'll be reaching out to him. There is a little caveat, however, he does have to tell us the story about Steve Gray and the Amish restaurant. So once he gives us that story that we can share, he'll be getting a free book. Guys, you got anything as we close?
Hey, be thankful for what you got, and thankful for the people, our military that's making everything happen, so we can have them.
Amen. Don?
Hey, just enjoy this time of season. It's a great time. And just like Rick said, if all of a sudden you realize you need one more gift for a sports fan, that book is available up at the Common Good. If you're outside of Norwalk, if you get on Amazon, either through the QR code we gave you, or just go to Rick Hall Author at the search bar. It'll take you about 3 to 4 days to get that book. They print them on demand. I don't know how they do it and get it out, but it's Amazon.
Yeah,
so
they do everything.
how can you know they do that? That's what they do. So you get it either place, and it'll be an enjoyable gift for your sports fan.
Or if you buy 2 at the Common Good, you'll get a free mug for yourself to sit and drink while the snow's flying here in the.
Yeah, I think we're about to refresh our supply too.
Said, and if you happen to go to the rec center, you could run into Rick or myself, and we just might have a book available, and you can get it right then.
And then you'll find out which one of us is truly unapproachable.
You'll also find find Jim about 20 minutes after the rec center at the IGA donut counter.
No. Moderation, not like I used to. Not like I
All
used
right.
to.
Well, God bless everybody and have a joyous time. Spend every minute you can with your friends and family because that's the reason for the season. Jesus is the reason for the season, and have a great, blessed holiday.
Yes.
That's all, folks.